Japan, Japan, Japan. This is a country that's visited by many for multiple reasons. It's history, food, anime and manga, nightlife, just culture in general. But should you visit Japan? Is it for everyone and anyone? What I plan to do is share a few aspects of the culture that I noticed with you all, and I'll let you be the judge. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first point, which is the fact that this country to me seems very detail oriented. It seems like they put a heavy emphasis on following directions. For example, at the majority of apartments that I stayed in, they all had a thick house manual that detailed everything I needed to know. There was never a need to call or message my host because that book explained how to use the stove, how to use the washer, how to use the advanced toilets, etc., etc. In each apartment, there would be 3, 4, 5 trash bins, and each one dedicated for a particular type of material. The first bin will be for general waste, second one for plastic, third for a different type of plastic, fourth for aluminum cans, fifth one for cardboard, etc., etc. So the point I'm trying to make with all of this is that if you're not really big on following directions, you don't respect the laws and rules, Japan may not be for you. For this next point, I was debating on if I should tell you guys this. But then I thought about it. You know what, Sly? You owe it to the people who watch you to be honest and truthful. And yes, people are going to judge you, shame you. You're probably going to have your black card revoked. But that's life. You can't please everyone. You have to be you. So I'm going to share with you guys what I did in Japan and how that may affect whether you come or not. Again, I'm not proud of this, but I drank unsweetened tea. And yes, I did it more than once. And the reason why I did it is, well, let me just show you. In this picture is a section full of teas. Let me ask you 2 questions. What percentage of these bottles do you think are sweet teas? If you guessed anything over 10%, I would say you're probably wrong. Second question, where do you think this sweet tea is located? Kind of like Where's Waldo? This is where's the sweet tea? And I'll give you a second. A lot of bottles. It can be all the way at the top, all the way at the bottom, to the right, to the left, in the middle. Just where do you think? Where do you think the sweet tea is located? Okay, time's up. The sweet tea is located in the first section, door to the left, and the second row from the bottom. The second row from the bottom all the way to the left. You'll see 2 bottles in yellow wrapping, and then to the right, 2 bottles in white wrapping, and then right of those are 2 bottles in red wrapping. Those are the sweet teas. So basically, they put them all the way to the corner at the bottom behind the boxes. You have to move the boxes and break your back in order to get to the sweet teas. That's how much people here do not drink them. And all of this confused me because if you look at all these bottles, they're very colorful. Some with the red wrapping, green wrapping. And I was thinking, oh, okay, this is probably strawberry tea. Oh, this is probably apple. But it took me about 3 or 4 times until I realized, even though the bottle was colorful, they're all just unsweetened teas. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if you enjoy sweet tea, you love it and you need it, this country might not be for you. This next point on the list is geared towards a specific group. And when I talk about the point, you're going to know exactly who I'm referring to. This is for those who like to give more money than what's required, aka tipping. Now, you can do what you want with your money. I'm not telling you how to spend it. I'm just saying that sometimes you may hear people complain about a country about how, it's becoming more quote unquote like westernized, or it's becoming more Americanized. Well, my thing will be that, okay, if you're a foreigner bringing parts of your culture, in this case tipping, to another country that has a culture of no tipping, well, aren't you sort of contributing to the same problem that you're complaining about? And that's just something to think about. But another aspect I want to bring up is that from what I understand, tipping is not customary, it's not common. It can be seen as offensive. My theory is that it can be seen as, it's kind of like giving change to a homeless person. Kind of like, hey, little poor guy, I know you're broke and you don't have as much money, so here's some spare change. Here's a few dollars to help you out because, your government's not taking care of you. You don't make a lot. And I'm here to save you, and I feel sorry for you. So here's my pity. Here's an extra couple of dollars. That's what I think they think when it comes to tipping. I can be completely wrong. You guys let me know. But as weird as that sound, yes, in many countries, basically outside of the US, and I don't know about Canada and like Europe and stuff like that, but tipping is not really common. And yes, there are countries that find it offensive, mainly in East Asia. So if you like the tip, Japan might not be for you. Another thing you need to know about whether or not you should visit Japan is, do you want to be scarred for life or not? Here's what I mean. After visiting this country, I can't really use the bathroom the same in my home country. Why is that, Sly? Well, the toilets here are advanced. I mean, once you go from heated seats, there's a spray nozzle that washes everything away. Then a fan comes out and blow dries your bottom area. Once you go from that to using dried toilet papers, it's just not the same. You know, it's kind of like going from first class on an airplane to economy seat in Spirit Airlines. It's just not the same. So I would say I'm scarred for life. If you don't want to be scarred for life, Japan, it just may not be the place for you. And last but not least, Japan has, well, let me start off by saying I noticed this, and it was mainly with the women. And eventually I figured it out, and that's the kawaii culture. I think that's how you pronounce it. Kawaii culture is basically an emphasis on youthfulness. And you'll see the women with like the schoolgirl outfits, with the double, what they call it, the double ponytails, with like the stockings and stuff like that, and with like teddy bears on the backpack and stuff. And then when it comes to the men, your inner child will come out. When you get to this country, you're gonna see all the anime and manga that you probably watched when you were younger. For me, it was Dragon Ball Z. Also the video games, Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, some of the old stuff from back in the day. Your inner youth, your inner child will come out. And if you're a thug or a gangster and somebody catches you playing with Pokemon cards, you might lose some street cred. So if you're a thug or a gangster, Japan, well, I'm just saying right now, Japan is not for you. But with all that being said, these are just a few things I wanted to touch on. These are a few cultural aspects that I noticed about Japan. There are many more. Also, keep in mind, this video was satirical, so don't take everything I said literally. Obviously, everyone and anyone can visit this country. It's beautiful. I would recommend it. And to me, it lives up to the hype. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And my next video should be from a different country. This is going to be interesting. We're going back to the other side of the world now because I still have some business left in this other continent. So stay tuned. Deuces.